And I'll just point out, Gordon, if you weren't an analyst, if you were running a hedge fund, you would have been broke so long ago.
Well, it's interesting to hear you be somewhat critical.
I have to be somewhat critical. This was not the blowout quarter.
Previously, in 2020, Tesla gained inclusion into the S&P 500 index, did the impossible by delivering 500,000 vehicles in a year of factory shutdowns due to the pandemic, while their stock was up 750% for the year. And we start off 2021 by giving some background into the beef that Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos have with one another.
The two richest people on the planet are in a Twitter war of galactic proportions, with Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin challenging NASA's awarding of their lunar lander contract to Elon Musk's SpaceX, prompting Musk to engage in some quality trolling, tweeting that Bezos can't get it up to orbit. LOL.
Billionaire Jeff Bezos unveiled his space company's lunar lander for the first time last night. The Blue Origin lander was designed to take scientific payloads to the moon with the eventual goal of carrying humans. Space rival Elon Musk tweeted a lewd response. I guess that wasn't checked by anyone to the Bezos announcement.
MIT Tech Review Tuesday night reported on Amazon's plans to launch over 3,000 satellites with the intention of bringing high-speed internet to remote regions of the world. Always quick to tweet his thoughts. He replied to MIT's tweet with the word copy, followed by a cat emoji. I guess that means copycat. To Musk's credit, the Amazon project is pretty similar to one launched by SpaceX's Starlink division last year.
And in January, Elon one-ups Bezos.
Move over, Jeff Bezos. Elon Musk is now the world's richest man, according to one estimate. Musk reached the pinnacle on Thursday, according to Bloomberg News, thanks to a surge in Tesla shares, which hit another record high and has skyrocketed 8-fold last year. That's pushed Musk's net worth to just under $189 billion, besting Bezos by $1.5 billion, according to the report. And Tesla's not the only thing going for the perennial entrepreneur. He also has his hands in space travel with SpaceX, high-speed electric tunnel travel with the Boring Company, and futuristic computer and brain technology with a company called Neuralink.
Speaking of Neuralink, what exactly have they been up to?
A while ago, we were speaking about Elon Musk's brain chip startup known as Neuralink and the studies that they were conducting which involved brainwaves in pigs. The startup seems to be moving forward, at least since this past Friday when they released footage which appeared to show a monkey playing a simple video game after getting implants of the new technology. The 3-minute video by Neuralink shows Pager, a male macaw, with chips embedded on each side of its brain, playing what's known as mind Pong. Although he was trained to move a joystick, that joystick was actually unplugged later. At that point, the macaw controls the paddle simply by thinking about moving his hand up or down. Co-founded by Musk in 2016, San Francisco-based Neuralink aims to implant wireless brain computer chips to help cure neurological conditions like Alzheimer's, dementia, and spinal cord injuries, as well as fuse humankind with artificial intelligence.
Also, at the end of January, Tesla announced Q4 2020 earnings, in which they reported a record $10.7 billion in revenue, their 6th consecutive profitable quarter of $270 million, and an all-time high of $19.4 billion in cash on hand. So what will Tesla do with all that money on their balance sheet? Well, the answer is coming up soon. But for now, back to earnings. And to keep with tradition, CNBC brought in their favorite Tesla bear to give his expert insights on the quarter.
For more on Tesla, let's bring in a major Tesla bear. Welcome Gordon Johnson, CEO and founder of GLJ Research. And I'll just point out, Gordon, if you weren't an analyst, if you were running a hedge fund, you would have been broke so long ago from Tesla. You would have been trying to cover your shorts so long ago and borrowing money and losing billions of dollars that you wouldn't even be on probably. But you're not. You're an analyst, and you make the case. You've been making the case for 600 or 700 points that Tesla shouldn't be at these levels.
But with respect to the quarter, the quarter was extremely bad in our view. If you look at what happened, their gross margins fell by about 400 basis points. They're guiding 2021 to about 749,000 cars shipped. And they said they're going to have about 1 million cars of capacity, so they're going to be significantly below.
This is an $800 billion company that obviously makes a great product. You see them everywhere.
I think one other thing with respect to Tesla, you say they have a great product. They're less than 5% of global automotive cars out there. They're not even a percent of the total automotive cars out there. And again, this quarter, they lost money excluding credit sales. They lost money. If you take away the credit sales, they lost money again. So they're not making money selling their cars.
Think of what they do when they start taking more of that market share, Gordon. That might be, look at that half full, not half empty. They got a lot of growth still possible. Anyway.
So while Gordon was busy being roasted by CNBC, we found out some interesting news from Tesla that rocked the crypto world.
The Bitcoin craze has reached new heights thanks to Tesla. The announcement by the electric car company that it bought $1.5 billion worth of the cybercurrency and may start accepting it as payment drove the Bitcoin price soaring, at one point Monday up more than 14% to over $44,000 per unit. Tesla announced the move in their annual company report and said buying Bitcoin was all part of a larger strategy to diversify in alternative assets. Musk has long boasted of Bitcoin's promise. He often uses his Twitter platform, with more than 45 million followers, to promote not only Bitcoin, but other little-known cyber currencies.
Not long after the Bitcoin news, Tesla had another surprise in store. This time, they submitted a formal filing to rename the titles for Elon Musk and CFO Zachary Kirkhorn.
Are you considering stepping down as CEO? Would you transfer, be chairman, and think about being chief product officer? I mean, since CEO title doesn't matter anyway.
I changed my title to Technoking. And by the way, this is a formal SEC filing. I'm legally a formal whatever Technoking. I just did that as kind of like a joke because just to show that these titles don't mean a lot. You can see what is actually legally necessary if you fill out the form for creating a C corp, and then you see it's president, treasurer, and secretary. You need a director too, but that's basically it. And then all these other chief whatever officer are basically just made up.
Time for a flashback to July 24th, 2019, when we heard the following news regarding Tesla co-founder J.B. Straubel.
J.B. Straubel, co-founder and chief technology officer, will be transitioning to a senior advisor from the CTO role, and Drew Becklino will be taking over most of J.B.'s responsibilities. I'd like to thank J.B. for his fundamental role in creating and building Tesla. Thank you, J.B.
In 2021, we got an in-depth look to see what JB was up to.
This is J.B. Straubel. He is a co-founder and longtime chief technology officer of Tesla. He was the mastermind behind many of Tesla's core technologies, particularly around the battery tech. He left Tesla in 2019 so he could focus on recycling all of these batteries. He gave CNBC an inside look at his startup Redwood Materials, where he is already recycling tons of batteries and sending some of the recovered materials to Panasonic so the battery maker can put them right back into Tesla's cars.
Batteries are amazing that way because the metals and the critical materials inside of them are very highly recyclable. We recover 95, 98% of many of those critical materials like nickel and cobalt and copper. Essentially all of those metals are able to go back straight into reuse again and again.
The materials in EV battery cells, for example, could have been mined in South America, Africa, Indonesia, and Australia. Then they are often sent to China for refining, and then in Tesla's case, sent to the US for cell production at Panasonic in Nevada at the Gigafactory. And a significant shortage of battery materials is looming in the near term for materials like lithium, nickel, cobalt, and copper.
Right now, demand is outstripping supply 5 years down the road, correct?
That's correct.
How worried are you about it?
Well, I am pretty worried that this could become a bottleneck to electrifying everything that people are hoping to do. I think it's going to be a bit painful when all of these factories try and ramp at the same time. And recycling and being able to efficiently reuse those materials can relieve some of the burden on the need for new mines or finding new resources. So, I really enjoy working on slightly underdog problems that are not getting enough attention, where with a small team, we can affect a big industry in the future, and we can invent some things that are going to have a dramatic impact on a huge portion of the industry.
So while JB Straubel was working hard to solve the issues of battery recycling, a protester was working hard to discredit Tesla.
This lady is not a saleswoman, she is a protester. The words emblazoned on her t-shirt read "brake failure." The words she is shouting mean the brakes don't work. This happened at the Shanghai Automobile Show, China's oldest biennial car exhibition, featuring the world's biggest car makers: Volkswagen, BMW, Jaguar, and the controversy-ridden brand Tesla. This year, the car maker's booth was besieged by this protester. Reportedly unhappy with the malfunctioning brakes in her Tesla, she was dissatisfied with the company's handling of her numerous complaints and decided to upstage the brand. The video has gone viral on the Chinese social media platform Weibo. It has triggered a chain reaction. Many Chinese consumers are sharing their grievances with the car company. Fueling the social media fury further is the response of Tesla's vice president in China. Speaking on the incident, Grace Tao hinted that the protest was staged. She said, "Our team had put forward a lot of solutions to resolve the dispute, but the customer does not accept inspections, insisting on high compensation. Her actions have been very professional, but there might be people behind her."
And while safety was a hot topic, Elon Musk did his best to highlight just how safe Autopilot was.
Elon Musk tweeting out, "Tesla with Autopilot engaged, now approaching 10 times lower chance of accident than average vehicle."
And then, days later, some tragic news breaks.
Take a look at this video. This comes to us from Spring, Texas, which is just outside of Houston. This was a fiery and deadly crash of a 2019 Tesla Model S. And according to police, they do not believe that anybody was in the driver's seat during the crash. Now, the investigators have not yet determined if the vehicle's autopilot technology was engaged before the crash. That's a big question mark that is out there right now.
Unfortunately, many news outlets jumped to the conclusion that Autopilot was at fault.
There was an article regarding a tragedy where there was a high-speed accident in Tesla, and there was really just extremely deceptive media practices where it was claimed to be Autopilot, where this is completely false. And those journalists should be ashamed of themselves.
Regarding the crash in Houston specifically, we work directly with the local authorities, NTSB and NHTSA, wherever applicable and whenever they reach out to us for help. In that vein, we did a study with them over the past week to understand what happened in that particular crash, and what we've learned from that effort was that AutoSteer did not and could not engage on the road condition that as it was designed. Through further investigation of the vehicle and accident remains, we inspected the car with NTSB and NHTSA and the local police, and were able to find that the steering wheel was indeed deformed, so leading to the likelihood that someone was in the driver's seat at the time of the crash, and all seatbelts post-crash were found to be unbuckled.
Keep in mind, this was not the first time the media blew things out of proportion when it came to Tesla's safety. Here's a flashback as to how the media overhyped several Tesla car fires that resulted in no injuries back in 2013.
Martin Winterkorn, who knows a bit about making cars, being the boss of VW, said he was startled. That was the word he used, startled by the fire. Why do you think he was startled?
I don't know, because VW has thousands of car fires every year.
He says his is safe. Again, I don't know what the implication of that is.
I mean, BMW literally has several thousand fires every year in their cars.
VW, yeah.
Yes. So I'm not sure I'd be startled by one in an electric car.
From mid last year to today is about 250,000 gasoline car fires, which caused about 400 deaths, something like 1,200 serious injuries. Our 3 non-injurious fires got more national headlines than 250,000 deadly gasoline car fires. That's mad. What the heck is going on? I mean, I realize like a new technology should have a spotlight on it, but it shouldn't have a laser on it.
Meanwhile, in April, Tesla was getting ready to report Q1 earnings. However, all the talk leading up to earnings was on Tesla's gross margins, with many anticipating that they were going to miss and potentially miss big.
What is the most important thing you're looking for this afternoon?
I think the most important thing for the direction of the stock is really going to be what they have to say about the cut-in
of the new SX and what this means for margins. So a lot of people are focused on margins. People are speculating as far as, whether they'll miss, how much they'll miss.
So will the experts be right? Will Q1 numbers be weak due to potentially lower margins?
Wilf, this is a beat on both the top and the bottom line, and the beat on the bottom line is substantial, earning 93 cents a share. Revenue coming in better than expected at $10.39 billion. The estimate was for revenue at $10.29 billion. Automotive gross margins up almost a full percentage point, 95 basis points to 26.5%.
26.5%. Well, it looks like the only group that missed earnings was the bearish analysts.
But the real beat, the real factor that drove the 15-cent earnings beat on the bottom line was due to better than expected margins. Their automotive gross margin came in about 100 basis points better than a year ago, and so that's what really drove the beat.
For those familiar with Jim Cramer, they'll know that one day he loves Elon Musk and Tesla, and the next there's nothing but criticism. So what version of Jim Cramer will we have today?
But David, the adjusted EBITDA less stock and credits is, it's almost nothing.
Yeah, but that doesn't seem to be something that impacts investors' perception of the stock or the ability of the company one day to create enormous cash flows, I guess, Jim.
I don't care. I expected more. I also, candidly...
You may not care, but it doesn't really matter if the majority of shareholders are unconcerned.
Well, that's true. A majority shareholders were unconcerned in WorldCom, David. It's... Whoa. No, I'm just saying that this was not the quarter I expected.
Listen, they were dealing with a difficult supply chain challenges.
Yes,
know about the chip shortages. They had strongest numbers they've ever seen in a quarter. Quarter.
He's got a head as big as his car going on Saturday Night Live.
Well, it's interesting to hear you be somewhat critical.
I have to be somewhat critical. This was not the blowout quarter.
Carl, he says Model Y is going to be the best-selling car truck of any kind in the world in 2022.
That's not, Carl, that's a hard goal.
And you're talking about, obviously, the supply chain worries which have bedeviled the entire industry. This is what Musk said about that last night.
Q1 had some of the most difficult supply chain challenges that we've ever experienced in the life of Tesla. Insane difficulties with supply chain, with parts over the whole range of parts. Obviously, people have heard about the chip shortage. This is a huge problem.
I've been asking executives, why does China not have a chip shortage with their cars? David, why is China kind of not sweating the program?
Well, you've told me, Jim, because I do listen to you. It's because they double ordered everything.
Right. Well, how about no way you can cut those back, huh? Give some to America?
Now, remember on February 10th, Tesla made the following announcement?
The announcement by the electric car company that it bought $1.5 billion worth of the cyber currency and may start accepting it as payment drove the Bitcoin price soaring.
3 months later, Tesla does a major backflip.
Now, they're one of the biggest names in the car industry and last year produced the world's best-selling electric vehicle. And now Tesla says it's not going to accept Bitcoin as a form of payment. According to the company's chief executive, Elon Musk, it's because of the impact the cryptocurrency has on the climate.
In March this year, the company announced it would accept Bitcoin as a form of payment. Now, a U-turn. In a bid to make transport more sustainable, the CEO has suspended the decision. In a tweet, Musk said, "We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. Cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at great cost to the environment." Although Tesla doesn't plan to sell any of its Bitcoin investment, it hopes to use it for transactions if mining shifts to more sustainable energy in future.
So, why is this so significant? Well, Tesla's goal and mission statement is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. And again, proves that this is not just a corporate statement, but something much more powerful and something that drives Tesla's decision-making at the highest level, and also shows you just how fast Tesla will react upon new information becoming available, in this case, the amount of fossil fuels being used to power Bitcoin miners. And this is what makes Elon Musk and Tesla different from corporations that are solely focused to maximize shareholder value at the expense of all else. Elon Musk and Tesla have a mission statement to make the world better, and all the actions that Tesla take are in line with that mission statement, and here was another example. So if you enjoyed the episode and want to support the channel, Patreon is the best way to do so. And remember, as always, all content is for educational and entertainment purposes and not financial advice. So till next time, I'll catch you guys soon.